Welcome, my friends of the interwebs. This is going to be a video response to Tex Grebner's video about shooting himself. If you've not seen Tex shoot himself, you might want to check that out. You'll find it in my favorites. Well, hopefully this video will be attached to it as a video response, but I don't know if he's accepted video responses for this video or not. Before I start this, though, Tex, I want to tell you that video, you need to copyright it, and you need to market it. That video could put some serious coin in your pocket. Do not, whatever you do not allow people to copy this video, and because it will just screw yourself. You need to copyright it. You can annotate it with a copyright claim, or take that down, put a watermark copyright on there. Either one will suffice. But this is a video that you could seriously cash in on. You know what? Make lemonade out of lemons, my friend. That's just kind of the way I look at it. So, having said all that, I have some thoughts on not only what happened to Tex, but safely carrying a firearm. These are my opinions. I am not a firearms expert. If you're looking for an expert, you need to go elsewhere. I suggest Safe Arms Review. Yeah, Steve knows this shit when it comes to firearms. I'm just a pretender. So anyway, yeah. So everybody's got opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Blah blah blah. So I'm going to give you mine. I do not carry the 1911. I used to. I used to carry it all the time. The last 1911 I carried was back in the 90s, and it was a Para Ordnance P12, which was a high-capacity, compact 1911. Well, the 12 from the P12 stood for 12 rounds. So, yeah, great gun. Just didn't feel safe carrying it. I don't feel safe carrying 1911s, and I am a fan of the 1911, so don't start bagging on me, 1911 freaks. I have several 1911s. So, why don't I feel safe carrying 1911? Well, you know what? Let me get to that in a minute. I want to show you double action, because I think a lot of people have no idea how safe a double action is. And I'm going to show you that with my Smith & Wesson 686 357 Magnum. This is a double action revolver. Okay, the firearm is empty. So I'm going to do this. Well, I'll do it right-handed first, and then well, you know, I'll do this left-handed. Okay, I want you to watch the trigger and watch the hammer. Now, this, by the way, this gun has had a trigger job, which means I've actually had the trigger smoothed out for shooting, for competition purposes, actually. But watch this. Okay, watch how far back, and I watch the hammer. The hammer's coming down, the cylinder's turning, revolving, which is why they call it a revolver. See how far that trigger's going back? See how far that hammer's going back? And then, boom. Okay, that's a long pull. And by the way, even with the trigger job on this handgun, it's a stiff pull. Okay, it's not as stiff as it is out of the box for sure, but it's a stiff pull and it's a long pull. It would be very, very difficult. You would have to be such a novice that had never bothered to practice, in my opinion at least, to accidentally shoot yourself in the leg by pulling the trigger back. See how far that is? It's a stiff, long, deliberate pull. Okay? Now, you can't fire this in single action. Okay? And I'm not left-handed, by the way, so bear with me. As you notice, when the hammer is pulled back into single action, the trigger is also pulled to the rear. Okay? Now, I would never in a million years carry this gun in single action. Okay? Now watch. See? Boom. The problem that Tex had was that with the 1911, you have to carry it in single action if you want to have one chambered. So the hammer's back, the safety's on. What happened with Tex, when he reached into his holster, he accidentally, we'll pretend that this is the safety, he accidentally took off the safety, and as he pulled his gun out of his holster, he hooked the trigger, and the hammer fell and fired a round into his leg. Simple as that. Yeah. Now the other way, you can carry a 1911 if you don't have one chambered, and then you rack a round in. But that, I don't like that when you're talking about a self-defense situation. I just don't like that at all. I think that's just a movement that is not necessary and may actually cost you your life. Okay, now the Glock. Over the years, I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, the Glock is not a safe firearm. There's no safety feature on the Glock." Okay, This Glock is most likely loaded. I'm gonna unload it here in a second. But you notice where my finger is as I pulled that out of that Serpa, right along the frame. Okay, so I'm gonna take the mag out. How do you like me now? Okay. Here's the thing about the Glock. Well, you know what? One more time with that Serpa holster. Serpa's getting bagged on in the comment section on Tex's video, which I think is just absolutely bullshit. Here's the release for the holster for the firearm. As you pull it straight out, your finger is automatically laid along the frame. Okay, you shouldn't be reaching down here. That's a long way down. Okay, so all right, the Glock is a double action firearm. Okay, which means that you've got to pull that back every time. It's a long pull. Now you can, if you become good with the Glock, come just a little bit up with the trigger to fire off the second round. But now watch this. Now this is stock right out of the box. I haven't messed with this trigger at all. Way back to the rear, and it's actually a pretty hard pull to drop that pin. I mean, a pretty hard pull. Okay, watch that again. Now, and of course, you've got the Glock safe trigger, which has got that middle thing, so that will prevent some misfires. But watch this, all the way back, boom, all the way back, boom, and that's a long, hard pull. Okay, here's where people with Glocks screw themselves. They go out and they buy a really light trigger. They go out and they put a ghost trigger in, and sure, you're more accurate at the range. You're more accurate because it's like shooting closer to shooting a single action gun. Problem is, it's not safe. Okay, this gun, the Glock out of the box, is a very, very safe gun to carry. Okay, it's a long, hard pull. Okay, now my favorite carry guns are guns that are of this design. This is the Sig Sauer 229, P229. By the way, I'm not selling this gun. I've decided against it. Long story. Mainly people just don't have the money, and I'm not going to take a bath on it. Anyway, once again, you got the Serpa holster. Here's the release. You pull. You keep your finger straight. It'll lay your finger right against that frame. I mean, how beautiful is that? All right. Now, go ahead and, I know for a fact that this is empty, but I know how people are. Here's the thing about this gun, this design. All right, this is single action right here. You got the hammer back and the triggers towards the rear. With this gun, you can actually drop the hammer safely with a decocker. So now you can carry this gun in a double action to single action configuration. So which means that you've got a round in the chamber. As you're pulling the trigger back, you see the hammer coming back. Okay. And it's a long, by the way, this is stock, a long, hard pull, much like the Glock. All right, once you shoot that first round, it will leave the hammer in the rear position, and every round after that will be single action. Okay, but by then, you should have sights on target. So that's not a safety issue whatsoever. And you will become much more accurate after that first round. I love this. I don't like carrying a gun with the hammer back and a safety on. To me, that's just not safe because, as Tech showed, it's not that difficult to knock that safety off. You know, and then you're screwed because you've basically got a gun with the hair trigger at that point. Okay? So, carrying a gun with a decocker is awesome in my opinion. It adds that double action safety, and then you've also got the single action accuracy after that. So, given the choice of carry guns, I will carry this design, but I would never hesitate to carry the Glock. The Glock is a very safe gun. Anybody that says otherwise just really don't know what they're talking about, in my opinion. Anyway, Tex, I hope you make a ton of money on that video. Keep that wound clean. Let's hope infection doesn't set in. You're not out of the woods yet, buddy. Believe me. Infection's a bitch. I've had one. So, if anybody's got any questions, listen, I'm not an expert at all. I just have been shooting since I was 7 years old, and I'm 44 now, so just saying. So, anyway, listen, that's all I got. Everybody, you guys take care.